Welcome to the Live Life Well podcast for busy women. As a busy mum myself, I understand how hard it can be to look after ourselves. But hopefully this is a space for you to take time out, find connection, and get some simple takeaways to live life well, mind, body and soul. Let's jump in. Well, hey guys, or busy women, I should say. It's Jo here, your host for another episode of the Live Life Well podcast for busy women. And I hope you're all doing good. We're a few days past spring equinox here in the UK. And it's been a gorgeous spring. It's raining a bit today, but it has been beautiful. So it just makes me feel loads better, doesn't it? It's great. So today I'm going to be talking about one of my favourite topics, which is gut health. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. It impacts every area of our well-being, doesn't it? So we're going to be looking at the lowdown on gut health, and I'm going to be talking about why I choose to do a gut reset twice a year. We're going to talk about what that looks like, why it's important or why I do it, and also how do I do it. So yeah, let's get into it. So yeah, I do a gut reset twice a year, and this time of year is a great time to do it. Spring is in the air and we just have more energy and more kind of motivation to look after ourselves, don't we, I think. So why is it even important to do a gut reset? Why do we need to do that if we're kind of eating well anyway? Like I said, our gut health is so important. It impacts every area of our well-being, from our digestion to our mood, our energy, our hormones and our immune system. And as a woman in her mid-40s, who I'm pretty sure I've just started perimenopause in full force, I really want to be intentional about giving myself the best chance to feel good now, but also protect myself against illness and disease in the future. And a big part of that, comes from our gut health. A lot of our immune system is in our gut. A lot of our hormones are formed in our gut. So it really affects our mood and our energy and everything. And I did really notice at the start of the year, I was feeling absolutely exhausted. I think it was a combination of hormones and winter and the darkness and the cold. So as soon as spring came, I really wanted to have a bit of a reset to just set myself up for success for the rest of the year, and also to see what impact it had on my hormones and how I felt. And I can tell kind of 2 or 3 weeks in, feeling massively better, feeling clearer, more energized. Hormones are definitely more balanced, so it's definitely worth it. And when we're not sort of thinking about our gut health and we're maybe eating more kind of processed foods, we're a bit stressed, we're relying on caffeine to get us through the day, we're drinking a bit too much wine at the weekends, we've got toxins all around us from cleaning products and perfumes and the environment, it can just impact how well our gut works. And there's a lot of scientific research that shows if you do sort of reset your gut over a 30-day period, that's the time it takes for your gut to kind of renew itself and for it to start to heal from all these years of not taking care of it. And the scientific research shows that, if you do a 30-day gut reset and allow your gut to heal over that time, even if you go back to eating kind of the way you were before, which might not have been great, your gut is in a much better place to deal with anything you throw at it. But what I find with myself and my clients who I coach through a 30-day reset is that you just don't want to go back to how you were nourishing yourself before. You've learned a new way of eating and you've learned how good that can make you feel. And that is massive for our mindset. I am very anti diets and fads. So doing something for 30 days like this is not about a quick weight loss solution. Most of my clients do lose a good chunk of weight, maybe like half a stone, but that is a byproduct from learning how to nourish ourselves better. And when we do that and we feel the benefits of that, our brains catch on to that and they realize, oh, this feels good and I want more of this. I want that good feeling. I don't want to feel like I was when I was not nourishing myself in a way that was best for me. So the short-term benefits are all those gorgeous things that I've listed, but also the long-term benefits the biggest thing for me is seeing women having those breakthroughs, like learning how to nourish ourselves and learning how good that can feel and getting hooked on that good feeling rather than depriving ourselves and counting calories and then, you know, going on a diet that worked for a little while, then going right back to where we were. It's not helpful, is it? We want to get out of that cycle, that yo-yo dieting, and just find a way to nourish ourselves well for life. And that is what I'm all about. But we also just want to, feel our best in the current moment, won't we? We want energy to do all the amazing things that we want to do. We want to avoid illness now and in the future, and yes, build those long-term healthy habits that we can fall back on. And for me, twice a year doing a gut reset is a really good rhythm for me. So I love doing it in spring. I would not recommend doing it January, February when it's already hard just to survive winter. But come March, April, it's such a good time. It's more of a new year, isn't it? We can embrace that spring energy. We want to do more and look after ourselves. We're ready for a reset. So jump on that gorgeous spring energy and do something lovely for yourself. I tend to do mine in March and September, which also feels like a bit of a new year and a new start, doesn't it? After the school holidays, we maybe been not prioritising ourselves, eating lots of chips and ice cream, which is totally fine. And we're ready then to kind of get back on it and look after ourselves after we've probably been running about after kids all summer. So that's my rhythm, but it's also really important to find out and figure out what works best for you. You know, maybe for you, January is a good time when you're sick of eating all the Christmas chocolates and you want to feel good again. Figure out what works for you. So I'm going to give you the juicy lowdown on what I do for our 30-day gut reset. And I'm really giving the good stuff away here because this is my main bit of work that I do with my clients. I have a 30-day gut reset program where you get calls with me, one-to-one coaching calls to, figure out why you're doing this, what you want it to look like, how you want to feel. And we make a tailored plan and recipes and coaching tools, and we check in. So I'm giving it away for free today, so take notes. But also, if you do feel like you want some extra support, please do reach out. We can have a quick chat, or I will also pop the details for my 30-day reset in the notes if you're interested, because you can absolutely do this by yourself. I'm going to give you all the information today how to do that. But what I found is that it's having that accountability and that support, not just from me as a coach, but from my kind of community where we all cheer each other on, share recipes, keep each other accountable. It's really powerful. So you got the choice today. You can take the information away and try this for yourself. But if you do want some more support, then I'm always here to have a chat. So what do we do for a gut reset? What does that look like? So for me, it's really about getting back to focusing on whole, real foods. We can definitely all get off track with that. There's so many processed foods out there to tempt us that taste good and that are convenient, but we know they just do not help us feel our best, don't we? They might feel good in the moment, but they're not great in the long term. And it's that kind of slight edge effect, isn't it? I don't know if you've read the book, The Slight Edge, but it's so good. It really changed my thinking about choosing what is good for me in the long term rather than what feels good right now. And there's time for both, absolutely. But most of our habits, if we think about setting ourselves up for long-term health, we've got to think about what's good in the future as well as what feels good now. So I'm talking about loads of fruit and vegetables, pulses. I love a nice pulse. I love a chickpea. I love a lentil. You can absolutely have good quality protein. A lot of people who I coach through the program choose to have a goal of reducing their meat intake, but you can have good quality meat. So not so much the processed meats, we avoid those, but good quality. If you can afford it, organic, free range is absolutely fine. You can have eggs. We also want to look at getting lots of healthy fats that keep us full and are great for our well-being and our brain health. So nuts and seeds and good oils, things like that, and whole grains as well. Carbs are absolutely not the enemy. We want to think about balancing our blood sugar, balancing our plate, but not excluding any sort of big food group. But we do also, on the plan, we do avoid gluten because gluten can be quite harmful to our guts, quite inflammatory, quite damaging to our gut lining, which can lead to things like leaky gut syndrome, which is not great. And most of us will be suffering from that at some point. So we do want to do this partly to let our gut heal from that kind of damage that our lifestyles and food choices may have had up to this point. So the things we sort of look at avoiding or reducing for 30 days are gluten and wheat, dairy products, processed foods, refined sugar, caffeine and alcohol. So I much prefer to put the focus on what are you going to eat, what are we going to fill ourselves with all this gorgeous, real, wholesome, nourishing foods, rather than what are we limiting or taking out. But for the sake of the 30 days, it is important to reduce or eliminate those foods that are more harmful to our gut health, to give it the best chance to heal and thrive and feed those good bacteria. But that's not forever. That really is just for the 30 days. And what we do towards the end of the 30 days is look at reintroducing those foods gradually, one by one. And that's a really important part in the reset. The reintroduction of the foods is as important as the cutting out of them for that limited time, because what that allows you to do is to notice how those foods then make you feel when you've not had them for a period and then you have them again. And what you might find is that those foods were never your friend, that maybe you need to break up with them or limit the amount of time you spend with them. You may find that you've always eaten a lot of gluten because, let's face it, wheat and gluten products taste great, they're chewy, they're satisfying, they're moreish. But most of us, especially in the UK, eat far too much of them. We rely on them because they're cheap, they're tasty, they're convenient. You can end up having bread for breakfast, lunch and dinner, can't you? And personally, I eat a little bit of bread just so I make sure I don't become intolerant, but it's not really my friend. I often feel sluggish and bloated if I have wheat, and it also, plays havoc with our blood sugars because it's a refined carb, isn't it? But whereas I will have a bit of sourdough, which is a lot easier to digest and process. So because you've cut these foods out for a little while, you will be much more in tune with your body and how they make you feel. A lot of the time, especially as busy women, we get used to how our Western diet makes us feel. We might think that it's normal to feel exhausted, bloated, tired, poor digestion, poor immune systems, all these things we become our normal, but actually they're not normal. And by focusing on really vibrant, nourishing foods for a month, we can be reminded how good we can feel when we put the right fuel in. I often liken it to sort of changing from petrol to diesel. You're changing your fuel system and you'll realise how much better you feel on better quality fuel. And that's what we deserve. We all deserve to feel as good as we can. So other things I encourage my clients and myself to do while we're doing a reset is to, make sure you're getting plenty of rest. A lot of us find we sleep better when we're eating well, and plenty of gentle movement. I wouldn't recommend starting a intensive exercise routine when you're doing a reset. Your priority's got to be your nutrition, but walks every day, gentle movement, stretching, yoga, all those sorts of things are great, because when we move, we feel good and we make better choices. It's similar to when we sleep, we feel good and we make better choices. So they're really important. Also, hydrating is really important, making sure we're drinking lots of water, flushing out our bodies from toxins and not mistaking thirst for hunger. So lots of water, lots of herbal teas. And like I said, what we'll do towards the end of our reset is look at reintroducing those foods that we've cut out gradually, and then long term introducing a sort of 80-20 lifestyle where we stick to this new way of fueling ourselves most of the time. So 80% nourishing whole foods, and that 20% is really important too, to give you that flexibility and to allow for those social occasions, to allow for those fun foods, to allow for coffee and cake and a glass of wine. We always want to have that option, so we don't want to demonize any foods. And like I said, your gut will be so happy and healthy after a reset. It'll be able to process and manage those foods much better. So that's really the what of a gut reset. And just a few pointers if you're going to do this, you're thinking of doing a gut reset, a few things to help you get prepared. It's really good to sort of know your why. Why are you doing this and how do you want to feel at the end of it? And keep that in mind. Put it on post-it notes around your house to remind yourself when it feels a bit tough and you're missing your favourite chocolate bar or that glass of wine. Remember why you're doing this. And for me, it is absolutely to feel well now and to be a hot granny. That's my new motto. I'm working on my hot granny body. So, I want to be able to be fit and healthy for as long as I can and run about after my kids and my grandkids. So for me, that's my why. And I know by doing a gut reset a couple of times a year, I'm really looking after myself and I'm creating these great habits for life. And 30 days is a good amount of time. It's manageable, it's got a start, it's got an end, and it's a great amount of time to allow your gut to heal. Other things that can help are definitely preparing ahead. So getting all those things out of your cupboard and fridge that are going to not be helpful. So those foods that you really struggle to limit. So for me, it's red wine and milk chocolate. If I have either of those in my house, they will be calling my name from the cupboards and I have to eat them till they're gone or drink them till they're gone. Like I said, it's not to demonize anything, but we're human and we have our weak spots and we want to set ourselves up for success. So fill your cupboards with all the gorgeous things that are going to help you do this. So loads of things you can just grab and make that are nutritious and wholesome and delicious. Get your fridge filled and your cupboards filled and make some meal plans. I will give you all of that information on what to stock up on, give you loads of recipes to have on the plan, and just embrace the joy of prioritizing yourself, prioritizing your nourishment, your nutrition and your well-being for 30 days. We don't do that often enough as women, do we? And we can chat about getting your partner and your kids involved. I love hearing mums tell me how doing something like this has impacted their family, how their husbands get really interested and start making the recipes and their kids start asking for their protein balls instead of biscuits. Absolutely love the impact it has on families, but most of all the women who are doing it. And just enjoying the journey, learning about yourself, about why you crave certain foods, what emotions come up, what patterns and cycles you notice, especially in terms of your menstrual cycle, emotions, moods, how they're linked to foods. It's a great opportunity to dig into that relationship with food and know what your triggers are, know how you use it for boredom and stress. And that's something that we can chat through as well. And remember, it's not about restricting yourself, but about nourishing and rebalancing yourself. So just in closing, if you have, like me over winter, been feeling a bit sluggish, low in energy, notice that you're struggling with your digestion, a gut reset could just be the thing you need to give you that boost. You'll be so proud of yourself and you will feel amazing. So like I said, please get in touch if you have any questions about this, or if you'd like to find out about us working together and me supporting you through this, or if you just give it a try and what comes up and what you notice. You can connect with me on Jo_live_life_well on Instagram. I love the community we've got there. Pop me a message. I've got loads of recipes on there. Gut health tips. Or you can find me at www.livelifewellness.co.uk. So let me know what you think. Let me know if this was helpful, and we will be back soon. I'm going to be chatting about that 80-20 lifestyle, I think, on the next episode. So that'll be a juicy one. So until I see you again, please keep looking after your amazing self and take care. Thank you so much for listening today. Remember, you can subscribe and share this episode with someone that you think might find it helpful. I'd love to stay in touch. You can find me over on Instagram at JoLiveLifeWell or at livelifewellness.co.uk, where you can find all the details of my coaching courses, workshops and retreats. Remember to keep looking after you, because you are precious and worthy of feeling amazing. See you all soon.